I love every single one of you from the tips of your heads to the tips of your toenails. And I love Kusuri-senpai's energetic innocence. And I love how cool Nano is. And I love Iku's boyish charm. And I love the way Shizuka-chan is like a cute little animal. And I love Hakari's modest grace. And I love the way Hahari-chan completely falls apart around cute things. And I love how Mei-san is both sweet and overwhelmingly competent as a maid. And I love the way Kurumi makes everything she eats looks delicious. And I love the way Karane is tsundere. And I love the way Kusuri-senpai gets so single-minded in her love in developing drugs. And I love Nana's beautifully glossy silver hair that flows behind her. And I love the way Iko stoically sticks it out against all the odds. And I love how Shizuko-chan's timidity makes me want to protect her. And I love the way Hakari's love overflows so much it even starts to blind her. And I love the way Hahari-chan loves to drop everyone up like dolls. And I love Mei-chan's lovely rainbow eyes. And I love Kurumi's casual fashion. And I love Karane's style. And I love how perfectly Kusuri-senpai's glasses suit her older form. And I love how Nano is so smart she shrunk first in her whole year. And I love how Iko takes such visceral enjoyment in enduring pain and hardship. And I love Shizuka-chan's love and appreciation for books and literature. And I love how sexy Hikari is even for a high schooler. And I love how open-minded Hahari-san is. And I love how Mei-san will listen to any order, even from those younger than her. And I love Kurumi's beautiful emerald eyes. And I love Karane's blonde twin tails. And I love how Kusuri-senpai is full to bursting with curiosity. And I love how efficient Nano is. And I love how Iko is refreshingly like a spring breeze. And I love how Shizuko-chan has the gentle smell of a library. And I love how Hakari's beauty mark is in that slightly lewd spot. And I love the mature dignity that Hahari-san exudes as an adult woman. And I love the cute dog ears and tails that Mei-san sometimes sprouts. And I love the pure adulation Kurumi gives to food. And I love how quick Karane is to defend the order of this world as the straight man. And I love the little cat mouth Kusuri-senpai makes. And I love the Nana's general cool beauty atmosphere. And I love how much Iko loves baseball. And I love how pure Shizuka-chan is. And I love how girly Hakari is. And I love the way Hahari-san smells of wonderful flowers. And I love how much Mei-san loves Hahari-san. And I love the little grumblings Kurumi's stomachs make. And I love how close Karane is with Hakari. And I love how Kusuri-senpai can make amazing drugs with the best of them. And I love how completely pathetic Nano's guard is sometimes. And I love how deeply Iko holds the promises she makes to those she cares about. And I love Shizuka-chan's docile quietude. And I love Hakari-chan's cute flower theme hair ornaments. And I love how unbelievably sexy Hahari-san is. And I love Mei-san's amazing cooking. And I love Kurumi's short black hair. And I love how much Karane cares for her friends. And I love how much energetically Kusuri-senpai runs about with her little body. And I love how Nano believed I'd love her even if she were bald. And I love Iko's great big toothy grin. And I love how much Shizuka-chan truly cherishes everyone else. And I love how Hakari works so hard for her love. And I love the way Hahari-san was screaming about changing our papers. And I love Mei-san's gentle voice. And I love how openly Kurumi speaks even as an upperclassman. And I love how Karane protects everyone else. And I love the way Kusuri-senpai has fun in basically everything she does. And I love the way Nano can be shockingly bold at times. And I love how Iko wanted to be paddled. And I love the way Shizuka-chan's size tickles an instinct that makes me want to hug her. And I love how Hakari is a diligent honor student. And I love Hahari-san's overall mature beauty. And I love the way Mei-san uses her employee benefits. And I love the satisfied Kurumi makes when she eats ramen. And I love Karane's little fang-like canines. And I love how Kusuri-senpai's a 2-in-1 deal. And I love Nana's cool eyes. And I love how Iko thanks people with their entire being. And I love how I can tell what kind of scene Shizuka-chan is reading by the way she moves. And I love how Akari smells like flowers. And I love how Hahari-san always calls me cute. And I love how Mei-san is a model maid eternally devoted to her master. And I love how Kurumi stops Karane from working herself to death as the straight man. And I love the way Karane's ribbons bounce on her head. And I love how Kusuri-senpai's lab coat makes her look like a real scientist. And I love Nano's abundance of information and composed decision making just like she's an AI. And I love Iko's outstanding motor skills. And I love how soft and fluffy Shizuka-chan's curly hair is. And I love how sweet Hakari's voice is. And I love the adult suits that Hahari-san wears that match her perfectly. And I love how perfectly attentive Mei-san is. And I love the sexy way Kurumi licks her lips after we kiss. And I love how strong Karane is. And I love how serious Kusuri-senpai is when she needs to apologize. And I love how Nano can recite pi basically infinitely. And I love the way Iko looks with sweat dripping down her body. And I love the way Shizuka-chan's fluffy hair makes her look as light as a feather. And I love how much Hakari loves kissing. And I love the way Hahari-san gently strokes me when she hugs me close. And I love Mei-san's white frills and her wonderful ribbons. And I love how much Kurumi eats. And I love how shy Karane can be at times. And I love the way Kusuri-senpai says yep yep at the end of everything. And I love Nana's beautiful slender fingers. And I love Iko's lovely snow white skin. And I love how Shizuka-chan's profound love for books is something she's been holding on to ever since she was a kid. And I love the way Hikari chews on her fingers when she's worrying about something. And I love the way Hahari-san makes me scream about gibberish. And I love how good Mei-san is at driving. And I love how Kurumi always calls all of us senpai. And I love the bluffs and fronts Karane puts on. And I love how cute Kusari-senpai is when she's so tiny. And I love Nana's perfectly clear and ambiguous voice. And I love the way Iko throws herself into helping others, down to her very soul. And I love Shizuka-chan's sweet little diminutive stature. And I love how close Hakari is with Karane. And I love how Hakari-san is constantly drooling when she's feeling relaxed. And I love the way Mason's classical maid outfit fits her so perfectly that it is almost scary. And I love how Kurumi is just ever so slightly shy. And I love the way Karane will spin her twin tails around even despite her own shyness. And I love how we've gotten so totally desensitized to Kurui-senpai's insanely powerful drugs. And I love Nano's tall and slender frame like she's a model. And I love how Iku uses Boku as her first person pronoun. And I love Shizuka-chan's honor student skirt length. And I love the way Hakari pants when she gets so excited. And I love Hakari-san's love for Hakari. And I love how Mason will devote herself to me tirelessly. And I love how easily Kurumi yields when you give her food. And I love Karane's sharply beautiful almond-shaped eyes. And I love that Kusuri-senpai is older than us even though she looks like a kid. And I love that Nano typically doesn't talk to us much but she loves us all the same. And I love how Iku is a demon on the baseball field. And I love how kind Shizuka-chan is to everybody. And I love Hakari's sweet and gentle character. And I love how Hakari-san's life has turned her into an experienced mature woman. And I love how modest Mason is. And I love how cool yet cute Kirumi is, even that part of it that's a mood killer. And I love how Karane's specialty is supposedly spicy food. And I love the many funny faces that Kusuri-senpai makes. And I love the way Nano's heart thumps when I lift up her chin. And I love Iko's crisp and dignified voice. And I love how even though Shizuko-chan is typically somewhat timid, she can be brave for everyone else when she needs to. And I love how Akari is typically someone of solid character but can sometimes be pretty absent-minded. And I love the way Hari-san totally revels in her loss without even trying to hide it. And I love the way Mason genuinely wishes for the happiness of others from the bottom of her heart. And I love the pretty way Kurumi says her grace before and after a meal. And I love the strength of heart that Karane has. And I love the beauty Marco Kusuri-senpai has that's honestly also kinda sexy. And I love the way Nano didn't even flinch once in the haunted house. She's so reliable. And I love the way Iku expresses her respect for other people. And I love how Shizuka-chan wore her school swimsuit to the water park. And I love the wild vision Hakari has of me sometimes. And I love the way Hari-san loves everyone with her entire heart. And I love Mason's perfectly made like jet black hair. And I love Kurumi's strong will. And I love the view of Karane's beautiful nape that we get because of her twin tails. And I love Kusuri-senpai's cute laugh. And I love the way Nano cites info so much like a wiki, always teaching us about new things. And I love Iko's jaw-dropping gallantry. And I love Shizuka-chan's itty-bitty hands. And I love the light and air way Hakari's bobcat flows. And I love Hari-san's Everest. And I love how perfectly polite Mason is. And I love how Kurumi has to stand on her absolute tippy toes in order to kiss me. And I love Karane's slender figure. And I love that one splendid tuft of hair that springs from Kusuri-senpai's head. And I love the way Nano is capable of producing effective results regardless of the means. And I love the massage that Iku gave me. And I love the way Shizuka-chan always takes others' feelings into consideration. And I love the way Hakari is always paying close attention to everyone else. And I love how Hari-san is actually pretty naive, all things considered. And I love the way Mason will absolutely never ever blame anyone else. And I love the way Kurumi's eyes light up and sparkle when she eats. And I love Karane's loose socks. And I love how Kusuri-senpai can get along with basically anybody. And I love the way Nano can stare down a pervert without shrinking away. And I love the way Iku could do 100,000 practice swings if she let herself lose control. And I love how Shizuka-chan is surprisingly interested in kissing in spite of her apparent innocence. And I love the cute pink color that Hakari's hair has. And I love how Hari-san bought out the whole school just to meet with me. And I love the warm and smoothing tea that Mason brings out. And I love how Kurumi gives any old excuse just to stay. And I love how Kurumi gives any old excuse just to stay in our company. And I love how Karane is always folding her arms. And I love how totally simple and honest Kusuri-senpai is. And I love the way Nano sucked on my injured finger that one time. And I love how clear Iku makes everything. And I love the way sweat flies off Shizuka-chan's head whenever she's worrying about something. And I love Hakari's undue concern over her weight. And I love Hakari-san's gorgeous and mature hairstyle. And I love the smile Mason always has on her face. And I love the pure gusto that Kurumi stuffs her face and fills her cheeks with. And I love the sweater with the droopy sleeves that Karane wears. And I love Kusuri-senpai's short little bangs. And I love the way Nano's calm, cool, and collected demeanor makes my heart throb. And I love how much Iku cares for her comrades. And I love the way Shizuka-chan's legs flap around when she does the flutter kick. And I love how soft Hakari feels when I hold her close to me. And I love the sexy beauty mark Hakari-san has right under her eye. And I love the way Mason is absolutely nice to everybody. And I love the way Kurumi rolls her eyes. And I love how handsy Karane gets when she's all fired up. And really, I guess I just love every single thing about every single one of you.